What happened yesterday can never happen again in this club. I somehow managed to feel even more unsettled by Monika's words. For whatever reason, my anxiety keeps spiking every time she talks. Maybe it's just the guilt. Maybe it's the nightmares. I glance at the others, who are all looking down at the floor in shame. Something must be done about this. Monika then stops pacing and is now directly in front of me. The room is dead quiet. She forms a signature smile, but rather than feel welcomed or reassured, I continue to feel more anxious. So I think it's important that we're all on the same page going forward. Given that we were all arguing about Mark yesterday and our bickering made him walk out on us. For everyone's eyes focus on me. I think it's only fair for him to voice his thoughts on yesterday before anything else is said. Right. I really don't know what to say here. And what's there to say? They're all being jerks to each other yesterday, they know it. But what I say could very well determine if this club continues to stay together. And it's time I finally come to terms with my feelings. I take a moment to collect my thoughts before letting out a sigh and finally starting. Look, the truth is, I have feelings for Yuri. I've been spending quite a lot of time around her recently, and well, I like her. Monika's like, you weren't supposed to say that! One by one the girls shoot either an irritated or dejected look at me, but Yuri only smiles as she holds back tears. I really don't think that there's anything that's going to change that. I want to be in a relationship with her. Not to spite any of you. I briefly make eye contact with Yuri. But because I've come to realize lately, I think she needs me. Yeah, well, that's a bad reason why you want to be in a relationship. Because Sayori also needs me, and I guess like kind of Natsuki also needs me, and Yuri and Monika also needs me. So that's a bit of a bad reasoning. The reason why you go into a relationship with Yuri is because I like her. You know, not any other reason. She likes me back, you know? I turn to Yuri, signaling to her that it's her turn to speak. Right. Yuri promptly stands up. She shakily breathes in and out. Tears welling in her eyes. Everyone, the thing is... Natsuki looks at Monika, then to me, Sayori, and finally to Yuri. Monika manages an uneasy grin as Sayori and Natsuki continue to look on at Natsuki. I didn't realize how hard this would be for Yuri to come out about whatever it is she's about to tell us. Though I have a sinking feeling we already know what it is. I give Yuri an encouraging nod. Come on, Yuri, you can do this. I can't do this! Yuri bolts out from her seat and rushes out the door past Monika, loudly sobbing. Monika smiling. You just smiled the same mean smile when Sayori was trying to talk about it. Crap. I quickly turn to Monika. Monika's grin quickly evaporates. Let me go after her, please. Monika sighs. Go for it. Monika says irritably. What the hell's up with her? I'll deal with it later. Just as I'm about to run after Yuri, I feel someone grip on my arm. It's Natsuki. Wait! I brush Natsuki's arm off of mine and turn to directly face her. I'm not very good at this. What are you talking about? Natsuki's voice starts to break. She shuts her eyes in an effort to fight back tears. It ultimately proves futile as tears start running down Natsuki's cheeks. She finally lets it all out. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry for trying to take you away from Yuri. I'm sorry for saying all those things I shouldn't have. I'm sorry for hitting you. That was the most... I'm sorry for everything. I stop for a minute, taking in what Natsuki had just said as she stands in front of me, on the verge of a total breakdown. Natsuki... Yeah? She sniffles at me. I'm not the one you need to apologize to right now. Natsuki's expression turns to shock. Before she can properly react, I turn and head straight to the door. Just as I exit the room, I hear her cry out to me. Mark, wait! Let me... The door shuts behind me. I'll deal with her later. I gotta find Yuri. Yuri! Yuri! Where are you? Damn it, where could she be? I wander up and down the halls aimlessly, looking for any sign of her. Eventually I stumble upon an open door to one of the classrooms. I can hear someone sniffling and sobbing in there. Yep, that has to be her. I quietly entered the room, gently closing the door behind me. As soon as I get in, I see Yuri curled up in the corner. I carefully approach her and quietly call out her name. Yuri? Yuri slowly looks up to face me. Please, leave me alone. Stop looking at me. I'm just a freak. I kneel down next to Yuri. You're not a freak, Yuri. Yuri stares at me with her glossy eyes. Yes, I am. I'm a freak and can't control my emotions around anyone. Especially you. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Yuri stops sobbing and pauses. For a full minute, Yuri is completely silent, aside from her occasional sniffle. Her face is frozen in fear and uncertainty. I'm honestly not sure what I'm supposed to do. Before I could react, Yuri lets out a pained sigh. I figured I was going to have to show you eventually. Either you accidentally see it, or I show you. At least this way it's on my own terms. Yuri? Yeah, there it is. With tears streaming down her face again, Yuri stands up and pulls up her sleeve, revealing numerous scars running up and down her forearm. Some of the scars are more faded than others, while some appear to be more recent. I feel increasingly lightheaded the longer I look at Yuri's arm. My stomach feels like it's about to cave in and collapse on itself. It's like that on the other arm too. Now you know my secret. Yuri, how long have you been doing this for? Years. Yuri resumes her sobbing as I stand shell-shocked at his revelation. I'm not even sure how to react to this. How do I even respond? Yuri sees my reaction and pulls the sleeve back down in disgust. I know what you're thinking. It's exactly what I expected from you. This is why I worked to keep it hidden away from you for so long. If you won't accept me knowing what you know now, then who will? If I try to get any help, if I even told my parents about this, I'll be locked away, never to be seen again. I can't fathom being apart from you. I wouldn't be able to tolerate not being able to enjoy the club anymore. But it's over now, isn't it? You're going to tell someone of authority about this, and I'm going to be committed to an institution for who knows how long. Yuri, you're skipping way too many steps. You're acting like you're a psychopath, and that's just not true. You're not going to be locked away. It was good while it lasted. I've ruined everything for you. Our friendship and club are gone. Yuri breaks down again and continues her sobbing. She's clearly being hysterical. Yeah, that's true, but I'm not sure if it's possible to reason with her right now. I don't want to leave Yuri unattended, especially like this. However, she maybe just needs a moment to calm herself down. But isn't it my job to be there for her in her time of need? Yeah, I'm comforting Yuri, of course. I take a deep breath and gently put my hand on Yuri's shoulder. Yuri, I know now what it took for you to work up the courage to tell me about this. I know that just to even admit to me, it took a lot of guts. I can't possibly imagine having to deal with what you've been going through for so long. You're a strong person for doing so, but we both know that you can't overcome this problem by yourself. But you're right that we can't keep something like this just between us. This is bad. I don't think anybody's going to commit to you. I don't think anyone's going to commit you to some asylum or anything like that. I doubt that'll happen. I won't let that happen. That sounds better. And that's true. I know it may not seem like it now, but everyone at the club cares about you. They want to help you and fix the club. If they didn't care or weren't willing to give you a chance, do you think that they would have showed up at all? As far as I could tell, everyone was respectfully listening to you. You were doing great, but you just have to go back and finish telling your story. Especially why you're doing this to yourself. And then maybe we can figure out how to get you out of your situation. I can tell you why I'm cutting. Please do. Yuri shakily breathes. I do it as a way of self-control. You remember the story about my middle school friend? Oh, whoops. Yeah? You guys were close and then one day she skipped town and nobody knows what happened to her. Precisely. I never was the same person after that. I was completely broken inside. My parents weren't around enough to offer me any significant help. but I was able to fake it enough so that they didn't send me away. Instead of openly defending myself and being proud of who I was, I opted to fade into obscurity, away from everyone's prying eyes. For the most part, it worked. The bullying and harassment stopped, but I was still lonely and friendless. I needed an outlet to let out all the pain and hurt I felt for so long. I needed to control myself against my more darker impulses. I got the idea of cutting because I read about it in a story that happens to relate to me very well. What was the name of the story? The Eternal Urge. I think I've heard of that title before. I heard it's very tragic. It's certainly not for the faint of heart. In hindsight, a young impressionable teenager like myself at the time probably shouldn't have been reading such a dark book, especially at that point in my life. But the main character was going through similar issues that I was. To help cope with the problem, she resorted to cutting, so I tried it, and it worked. I got addicted to cutting the more I did it. It became almost habitual for me whenever I got angry or depressed enough. It made me feel better for a while, then the regret would set in, which would inevitably lead to more cutting. So it's a never-ending cycle. Yes. It also happens whenever I get overexcited. It reminds me too much of the behavior I've struggled to avoid for so long. It's a reminder of the life I tried to leave behind, so it also serves as a sort of punishment system for me. Yuri. You've tried other methods of coping, right? Yes, for the longest time the only thing that was sometimes enough to keep my mind off cutting was reading books, though it's not foolproof. But that changed not too long ago. How so? I met you. When we started talking, you reminded me about all the good times I experienced when I was growing up. How happy I was, what it felt like to feel attracted to someone who was nice and cared about how I felt. Of course, with those happy memories, others resurfaced, the ones filled with pain and loss. So sometimes, when I think of you, it's sometimes enough for me to stop myself. Other times, it's what pushes me over the edge to do it. I know that this isn't healthy. I do anything to break this hellish cycle, but I just can't. I'm stuck in this loop and I can't escape. Sometimes I even ask myself if I can be helped. Do you believe that you can be helped, Yuri? Yuri's face fidgets as she tightly grabs her wrist behind her back. I don't know, Mike. I just don't know. I just don't want to be locked up like some... Don't, Yuri, that won't happen. That won't happen. I will make sure that won't happen. They have to go through 10 of me to get through to you if they want to lock you up in a padded room somewhere. Yuri, I don't think you will be. But you have to understand, what you told me is serious. I can't keep this to myself. You have to get professional help. I don't think anyone's going to commit you to an asylum just for that. But you have to trust me on this. You need to go back to the club with me and tell everyone the truth. Please come back with me, Yuri. I'll do everything I can to protect you. There's a long silence before Yuri responds. I want to trust you, Mark, but how do I know I can trust you with what you're saying? I stopped myself short. Am I ready to say that? Is it too soon? What is it? If I'm going to sell Yuri on the idea of getting help, it's probably for the best that I'm as honest as possible with her. I take a deep breath as I begin to lay out my thoughts. I mean what I said back there. I like you, I really do. You're always such a deep and interesting person. Honestly, I feel like I've only just begun to get to know you. And I've only liked what I've seen so far. I feel like that we really do have a meaningful connection with each other. I really do. You're unbelievably gorgeous and incredibly smart. You'd have to be an idiot not to see what an incredibly thoughtful person you are. I know you're a strong person at heart too. You don't need to continue to fight this battle by yourself. Let us help you, Yuri. We all care about you. I just don't want this to get worse, because if I were to lose you because you went too far, I wouldn't be able to forgive myself. I take in a big breath of air to compose myself. Yuri on the other hand nervously fidgets and is staring at the floor. For a few moments she's completely silent, just simply standing there, looking at the floor in total bliss. I think I might have overdone it. Yuri starts to sniffle as I see tears start to surface in her eyes again as she turns to face me. Though these aren't tears of sadness. After a few more sniffles, Yuri finally breaks her silence to me. Mark, what? Ah, before I can say anything else, Yuri full on embraces me. I love you, Mark. I love you too, Yuri. I'm glad I can finally say it. I help Yuri stand up, but she quickly looks away as she grins uncontrollably from ear to ear. I've never seen her this happy before. After everything that's happened in the last 24 hours or so, it's hard to believe that we finally got to this point. It's not over yet though. Come on, let's get back. Oh, guess who's there? Maybe it's Natsuki? I think she wanted to go looking for Yuri with me. Oh, probably everyone's looking for us now. How long have we been gone for? It's alright, Natsuki. I found her. I turn around and I'm surprised to see who it is standing at the door. It's not Natsuki. It's not even Sayori. It's Monika! Dun, dun, dun. Yuri and I stagger back, surprised at Monika's sudden entrance. I shake off my nerves and speak up. Oh, hey Monika, I didn't know you were going to look for us. I was looking for you, Mark. She eerily grins at me. She takes a step forward. Monika's words sent a chill down my spine. Her creepy grin doesn't help it either. Well, you found me. I found Yuri too. We can head back to the club room now. I turn to Yuri, who seems just as uncomfortable being alone with Monika as I am. So you're all squared away then? You guys are going to finally be a couple, huh? Yeah, why? Well, that's too bad. I guess we're going to have to do this the hard way then. Yuri and I stare at each other in confusion. The hard way? What are you talking about? Out of nowhere, a thunderstorm rolls up on us. What the hell, wasn't it sunny just a minute ago? Next thing I know, it's nighttime, and all the stuff in the classroom has vanished. Not only that, but we're all standing in different spots. What is this? What's going on? Where did everything go? I turn to Monika, who's standing completely still in the middle of the room with her eyes closed. Monika? She doesn't respond. Monika! I say loudly. I reach out my hand to put on Monika's shoulder. Monika, are you alright? I put my hand on Monika's shoulder. She still doesn't respond. I really dislike that. I look up at Monika to see her eyes glow an emerald green as she stands before us, motionless. Yuri cries out for help as loud as she can. Scream all you want, it won't save you. Monika teleports right next to Yuri and tightly grabs her hair. Yuri again yells in pain as she's forced on her knees by Monika's harsh pull. Meanwhile, I find myself at the back of the room, unable to get up or speak. What the hell is going on? What is this? Yuri tries to fight to get Monika off of her, but she too seems to be frozen in place. I've waited a long time for this. Without warning, Yuri's body is broken into little pieces that repeatedly revolve around themselves mid-air. I honestly can't believe what I'm seeing. This can't be real. This has to be another dream. Help me! Help me, Mark, I guess. Yuri disappears into nothing, leaving Monika and I alone in the room together. Only that the room seems to have changed yet again. I'm now sitting in a chair facing Monika, who is still staring at me through her glowing eyes. I look out the window to see that it's no longer raining or sunny out, but it looks like space. I look back at Monika, who still maintains her blank stare. I'm getting out of here. I don't know how, but I managed to force myself out of the chair and sprint to the doorway. However, surely enough, the door slams in my face as soon as I get there. What the hell? I go to turn the doorknob, but it's jammed shut. This has to be some kind of joke. I try pushing the door open, but it won't budge. What the fuck is going on? I turn around and see Monika slowly walking towards me. I begin pounding the door, screaming for Natsuki, Sayori, or anyone to help me. The closer Monika gets to me, the more lightheaded I become. I can't see straight. My breathing becomes ragged as I feel a splitting pain in my head. I think there's blood in my eyes. Monika towers over me, the emerald light glowing in the place of her eyes. She slowly outstretches her hand to me. Oh, stop! Get away from me! Get away! I slowly lose my consciousness as I feel Monika's cold hand grab my throat. I begin to feel as if everything in my body is rushing to my throat. I would vomit, but my stomach feels entirely empty and my throat numb to the point where I can even tell if it's still there. I try to let out a cry for help, but not even a squeak comes out. My lungs are on fire, begging for me to take a breath. I can't even feel my arms and legs. My head is spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. It feels totally weightless. My vision is filled with red blood. I try to look to see if there's anything that I can use to defend myself, but my eyes won't stop looking at Monika. I can't feel my arms and legs. They become completely numb. It's no use. I can't do anything. So this is what it feels like to die. I finally lose consciousness, but the last thing I see before everything goes dark is Monika's glowing green eyes. I'll see you soon. I just need to run a quick little errand. Fuck you, Monika. Isn't this like all the same? Pain is almost unbearable. Yeah, I can't skip this, but this should be pretty much exactly the same as before, right? What am I? Where am I? What is this? Look at all directions. It's space. Hello? 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 Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we can... Hi, Monika. Pretty much skip this. Monika? Oh, good. You're awake. I really hope I did it right this time. And I believe I owe you an explanation. Look at Monika, startled and confused. Monika, what is this? Where are we? What did you do? Monika waves her hands at me to calm down. It's okay, we're safe. How is this safe? We're in what I like to call as the void, Mark. It's my home. It's where I go when I'm not needed. I take it you recognize it? I look around once more, but all I still see is black, empty space. None of this is possible. I have to be dreaming right now. But this does seem familiar. I've seen this place in my nightmares. I look back at Monika, who is waiting for me to answer. I simply nod back to her to indicate that this is indeed all familiar to me somehow. Good, I was worried that I messed it up again. I guess I'm really starting to get the hang of resets. Resets? Monika, what the actual fuck are you talking about right now? 1 minute we're at school, next thing I know you just knocked me unconscious with your weird glowing eyes. What are you, some sort of god? About all that. First let's all calm down. I know it's a lot to take in. I'm speaking from experience on this one. But I'm definitely not your normal little schoolgirl, Mark. No, I'm beyond such labels. Actually, it's one of the few things we have in common. Could we possibly have anything in common? In a sense, we're both real, Mark. I take a step back from Monika. Has she lost it? Yes, we're both real, Mark. Oh, she said that. Well, I should say that I'm real. You're a bit of a tricky case. What are you saying? Well, I've been talking past you this entire time. Not at you. I've been talking to the lovely person behind the screen who controls you. Are you saying that I'm controlled? Monika lets out a hysterical laugh. Her laugh echoes throughout the void, being carried off into the distance until it's nothing more than a distant echo before it can be heard and before it can't be heard anymore at all. Oh please, you're not even a character, Mark. You're an avatar from my beloved. Just a projection of themselves onto a blank and boring canvas. Unfortunately for you, you barely exist at all. But you're as real as I can get right now. You're the closest I can get to the person who controls you behind the screen. Who is this person that supposedly controls me, Monika? I have no idea what you're talking about. Monika lets out a sigh. Mark, the world in which we live, is a video game. A visual novel to be exact. Everything except for us is a pre-programmed manufacture of a series of codes that lets life as we know it go on. Essentially, everything we know and what we've supposedly lived through has been a lie. Our memories are a lie, our families, teachers and friends don't exist. They're all just imaginary. Even our school is fake. It's just a convenient little setup so that you get to meet us. When the reality is, it's just a fake little backdrop to hide its place from the player's eyes. The player, aka you, was supposed to form a romantic relationship with either Sayori, Natsuki or Yuri. And I was just supposed to sit back and let it happen. I could only advise you on what to do and give you some tips on how to navigate this world. But I wasn't going to let it happen. So I did the only thing I could do. I intervened. I decided to push some things along so that we could ultimately end up together. That's how the original story was supposed to happen. Original story? Yes, unfortunately I seem to be sort of lost in time. When I started to really manipulate the code to tie up a loose end early, I somehow messed up. And through my mistake, I somehow ended up creating a whole new timeline where that event never happened. The festival actually happened, but I never intended for us to reach it. And all the events afterwards, well, mind you, it's all pre-programmed lies to fill the gaps in the story. Were never supposed to happen either. This is a mod to the original story, to where our destinies were altered to lead elsewhere than that was originally intended. So whatever the original game had in store for us isn't going to happen here. Though I've manipulated the code to mirror some certain events that you've experienced. I even invented some of my own too. The nightmares. Yes, I've been inside your empty head this entire time, trying to steer the player to pick better options. To pick me. That should have been our reality. That's what I wanted our destiny to be. Now I'm really taking a gamble by letting you help shape this reality with me. I've watched every single choice you've made, and it seems even with my own route now, you still steer clear of me. Why? Yeah, my player can answer that. The character can answer that, but I do, because I made the choice, Monika. I made the choice to love Sayori. To accept her confession because I like her. To help her as my childhood friend. Even though I know it's fake, it's just a story fabricated for it, but I'm here for the ride because that's why I started playing this game. And I chose Yuri because I connect with Yuri more on a personal level than with anyone else. And I'm leaving you be because I chose to do that, Monika. Monika sighs again. I know you can't, Mark, and I don't think the player has the ability to explain himself through you. That would be quite fucking cool, though. I mean, it would be ridiculously difficult to fucking make, but it would be cool if if there was like a chat box, where there was like a dialogue box, you could like talk. You could even do it like Emily is Away, where which is a great game, by the way. I haven't played Emily is Away 3 yet. I have it, but I haven't played it yet. But that's a really, really cool game as well, which is about also about a love story. Set in a chat room, like an MSN type chat room, and then you pick options what to say, and then you randomly mash buttons on your keyboard, and then of course the pre-programmed text comes out because of course they cannot code a response for every single possible sentence that you could possibly say to them, you know. But you could like that would be really cool for a mod as well, where you could like talk to Monika, and then. Kind of like this, where you make choice, but you know the game gives you the choice, like who do you want to hang out with, and you choose, you know, kind of like that, but then like with dialogue, like specific dialogue, so you can specifically talk to Monika in a certain section. That would be really cool. Of course, yeah, no, we do need to make you do need to establish that Monika can't change it because you know Monika has the ability to change the options that you can pick. Because we've seen it in the main game where where you can only pick Monika in the second act, you know, where you move your mouse and then your mouse gets slowly drawn towards Monika again when you move past it. So anyway, I'll end the episode here. We'll see the rest of Monika's confession. Of course, we're going to say no. We're going to save everybody, and then see how we're going to be with Yuri and stuff. In the end. And then I guess we're doing Natsuki's route after that. And then we're doing your route, Monika. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Click the like button if you did. Subscribe to join the Roman army. And I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Avete.